That was just a test. That was just a test. Ooh,
Yeah, sure. All
recording in
right, we're gonna start off
progress.
swinging here.
Shit.
We're gonna. I need to
We're not
discuss.
in a rush.
Wait, am I screen sharing? No.
I have not seen your screen.
Here we go. Your little glaze
Up,
session here
up.
with Mason, praising him for starting a kicker. He scored
No, in
56
in a
points on,
sense,
on Thursday Night Football. Like, great job. You started a kicker. Round of
in a
applause.
sense, I was actually mocking Mason because when I said in the last episode the kicker would be the difference, he was like, "Yeah, that 6 points is really going to make a difference." So it was really more a shot at Mason and the anti-kicker gang.
Hmm.
I don't know where you get this concept of glaze from, but I can tell you that's not what's happening here.
I would never say anything of the sort. All right, we'll get right into it.
Unbelievable.
How do I
Lose my
present?
number once this episode's over.
We're done. Okay. High Risers 3.0. Also, no one commented on my this is chat GPT made this. I thought it was kind of cool.
Oh, yeah. I actually, well, podcast might be spelled wrong, but
Oh, it
yeah,
definitely.
I don't know if I would
Yeah,
have
it
noticed the
spelled
artwork.
everything wrong. Podcast. We're clashing.
It
I like it.
happens.
I like
It
that. The
happens
new genre. Podcast.
for sure.
Carter Tweet word of the day. Overreaction. It's week one, losing to David Montgomery in overtime. Uh Thinking about that for the next 3 days. I mean, football's back. Like we're so back. Just to have for it to
Yeah,
have that
and
control over your life, we're so back.
and I think it's worth noting. I don't choose the Carter tweet words of the day. I'm learning it now with all of you. I can see how that would be a misconception, but again, I'm seeing this now for the first time.
Yeah. A good
Oh no,
there's a,
unknown event.
oh,
Hey, edit that out. Edit that out.
that was supposed to be a crown. Um I can keep that. Anyway, Houston scored the most points of the week, 139.96. Played Nixon, who scored the second most points, and Ben, 85.48, lowest points, played Hayden, who had the second fewest. How was that for interesting?
It always seems to happen that way. I mean, I feel like in every fantasy league, the guy with the second most points is always losing. It's interesting for sure.
Yeah. So Houston, sorry, I'll have your crown next time if you're the points leader again. Um,
Hmm.
but
I'm
yeah,
gonna earn it.
gotta
This is
earn it.
pledge week.
Ben earned it. It is a pledge week. All right, top pickups of the week. I just thought this would be interesting. I'm gonna spread my narrative here. Isaiah Likely, I think obviously the top one. It was a weak tight end showing as a whole, and I think managers are going to be willing to spend some money chasing that week one. My question is, all right, well, 3, 2, 1, how much you think he's going to go for? Okay.
Okay, I'll admit I'm not the most well versed in the waiver system, but I am willing to give this a shot.
All right. 3, 2, 1, 47.
38. What'd you say?
I said 47.
Okay, yeah, I think obviously an elite week one performance, but it's still a tight end. It's still week one. You can't drop like more than half your budget. I agree.
Yeah. Justice Hill, I just thought this was like a good, he was kind of the only decent running back I saw. Scored 11 points versus the Chiefs. A lot of them passing, so you never know game script what'll happen. But Henry's
Old
an
and
old guy.
frail. That's a brutal description there.
I think it's kind of true. Baker Mayfield, I could see
Agreed.
Nixon dropping some catch here. Really just elite weapons. Gets to play the Panthers twice. Yeah, but it would really, what you got there?
I was just plugging the station. That's all.
Oh,
That's
okay.
all.
Yeah, yeah.
Ignore me.
Sorry, sorry. I thought you had a Panthers jersey on or something.
No, 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 no.
But
I don't got anything like
it'd
that.
be a shame if someone outbid him. It'd be a real shame. And I'll move this. Alec Pierce, deep threat, going up against Green Bay. I think he's an interesting flex play this week, depending on I don't know if anyone got injured this week really. And then defensive, I think there's a lot of great ones. Chargers versus the
Hmm.
Panthers, Steelers versus Broncos, Jets versus Titans, Giants and Commanders, same matchup. I think you can play either side. And Texans versus
Hmm.
Bears. I think these I think this might be like kickers last week, which was crazy last week. There was three kickers who scored over 20.
Hmm.
That kills the game.
They're a factor. They're a
Kills the
factor.
game. Really does.
Debatable.
Debatable. All right, so that's the pickups of the week. Really kind of a dry week.
Hmm.
You hate to say it. You don't really
Yeah.
see Puka or
No,
Kyler.
no huge waiver guys jumping out this week. I do really like the Texans versus the Bears. Anthony Richardson had the big plays, but the numbers still weren't elite last week, and we all saw probably how bad the Bears offense was last week. So could
Yep.
be the move on defense. There's a few other good ones there.
Yep. Overreactions to week one. This was my biggest reaction. Josh Jacobs is not a single digit number guy. He is too big to be a number 8. He needs to have a double digit. If you're over 220 pounds, you cannot be a single digit player. That's my biggest reaction is he needs to change his number.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think for me, it's just a positional thing. It looks weird seeing anyone who's not a quarterback. I don't even think he looks particularly huge in that picture on the left, but I can agree with that. I also don't think Josh Jacobs should be that number. It's a bit strange to see that for
Was Aaron
sure.
Jones number 8?
I do not know that information, and my
I
name was
feel like he
Game of
was.
Jones last year, so that's a
I
real
feel like he
shame.
was.
That's a
That
real
also
shame.
doesn't help going from Jones to Jacobs. Very different play style. It's just number doesn't fit
Hmm.
him. Doesn't fit him. That was
No,
my biggest
I
takeaway.
agree. I agree.
My second biggest takeaway is Cooper Kupp and Saquon Barkley were way too low in the draft. Cooper Kupp, I said last week, that's why I picked Nixon. I think Kupp's going to be a difference maker this year. With Puka going down, I fear he may already be a league
Right.
winner, and it's week one. Saquon as well,
Could be. Could be.
best line in the league.
What's the timetable on Puka? He's on IR, right?
Yeah, so it's at least 4 weeks.
Right.
So
Yeah. Crazy stuff for Nixon there. Bit of a break in week one
for sure.
for a guy who needs it.
So those are my two biggest takeaways. Your overreactions. I'll let you explain these.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I like that you rephrased some of them. I think you made Grant's even particularly better
Mhm.
than it was when I sent it to you. So, as you guys know, I don't particularly know ball. I didn't really have any NFL related hot takes this week, but I was checking the scores. I was checking the stats of this league, and I've got a few overreactions. Overreaction number one, and I'm pulling up the teams here just to remember kind of why I thought this as I was making them. So, if I'm looking down, forgive me. But I think Mason is this year's champion. Looking at this roster, he has a lot of guys, even with a bad defense performance and not an elite kicker performance. And that's one thing I'm going to get into with my power rankings. We saw a lot of guys who I think had fluky defense or kicker performances. I don't think Mason's one of them.
I agree.
Dak did not play well, but I think he's got a lot of guys. David Montgomery looked great. I think he's only going to get more carries as the year goes on. He put up 124 with some bad performances, and he's also got a good bench. I think Mason's winning it all this year. Plus, we all know he tends to be pretty good. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Second one, and I think this might be
having no girls will really that'll help. You know.
I mean, whatever the reason is, this guy is on the waiver wire. Him and Anderson. I mean, they're locked in. They're locked in.
Yeah.
Second one, I think might be the spiciest take here because Hayden
I gotta
dropped 92
disagree
points.
with this one. Yeah. I mean,
Right. Well, let me explain. Let me explain. I said this is Hayden's year in parentheses to get his money back, which means a top 3 finish.
a
Now,
podium.
obviously, I will lead
Respectable.
with this. I will lead with this. Yes, because Hayden typically not respectable finishes. You don't know how active he's going to be. You don't know how much he's going to be checking waivers. So I'll leave that Hayden could falter just due to inactivity. But the roster here, I said it last week when picking the games. I think he put enough around Christian McCaffrey. He started Isaac Gorindo, who scored 0 points, as we all know.
I didn't factor that in. He scored 95 in
Yes.
without McCaffrey. That's a good
He
point.
scored 92 without his best player, and we already knew this, but seeing that Jordan Mason had every single carry, Kyle Shanahan does not go by. Okay, McCaffrey's going to feast this year, possibly more than he ever has. Looking at this roster, again, San Francisco defense, a great defense, didn't play particularly well. Brian Robinson off the bench played well. Alexander Madison had a touchdown off the bench. Mike Evans played well. I think Hayden has put enough around Christian McCaffrey. I think he's going to have a really solid team this year. I'm saying top 3. We'll see.
Okay.
And then the third one, because I know I'm yapping too much, I'll make this one quick. Grant's team is not going to be good. Get ready to learn Constellation Bracket. He put up 102. The bench isn't even terrible, but just looking at this roster, Jahmyr Gibbs had a touchdown, which saved him. Kyle Pitts had a touchdown, which probably isn't going to happen. He only had 3 catches. I just think a lot of the guys Grant's counting on to produce aren't going to produce. We've known it's not a great roster. I feel confident that this guy's going to be in the constellation.
Can't disagree. My NFL MVP pick, I'm just throwing this in here. Josh Allen, I think this is his
Mm,
year. 6-1.
yeah.
And the Bengals, I think next week they're going to lose to the Chiefs. Their odds are going to be even better. I'm going to place my bet then. Bengals Super Bowl. I think they'll heat up second half, but after the Chiefs.
Okay. A little
Okay.
Sager's gambling corner there.
Yep. Week 3 power rankings. There's a few names I want to
Mm,
discuss. Will Nixon stands out probably foremost among anyone. He's my number one. He's your
mm.
number 6. Am I overreacting to Cooper Kupp? Maybe slightly. But I mean, he has the best team name. He has the, it's not updating. What's his team? I think he has 2 solid running backs, Justin Jefferson, Sam Laporta. I don't think Terry McLaurin's going to dud every week. And I just think he has a really solid team if he can stabilize at the quarterback position. So I want to hear how
Yeah.
you think he's number 6.
Yeah, so taking a look at this, I think 6 might have been a little low. Obviously, I was influenced by the fact that he lost, which isn't really fair. I think the thing that stood out to me is the very first slot you look at is quarterback. And I know he has 2 on the bench, but I was looking at Jaden Daniels, not going to have 2 rushing touchdowns every week. But other than that, he actually didn't have great touchdown luck. Jonathan Taylor's performance wasn't very good. And also, I just got to be honest, it's just Nixon. He's not always the most active. It's hard to put him as like a consensus playoff team, but I do think this is a solid roster. I might have moved him up if I was remaking this. I think the Cup point you make is very good. But again, had a little luck with Jaden Daniels. Ramondre Stevens is good on the bench. This might be one I'm kind of leaning towards you a little bit. I might have erred in that judgment.
And then the next big one, I have Craw at number 9. You have number 3. That's a
Mm,
big one. I don't think I believe in Derrick Henry. I don't know if I
mm,
believe in Chris Godwin and Travis Kelce. I just I don't see him producing
yeah.
like that year in and year out. I just think 3 is a little high up among some of these other teams.
Right. So again, I'll say this. I'll say this. I was a little biased because he beat me, and so you
Fair,
have to factor
fair.
that in.
You got to
Put up a
spread the
great
narrative.
performance.
Yep, change the narrative.
But I see a lot of guys who I think can continue to put up the same kind of numbers, and a lot of guys who I think are going to do better. I mean, it wasn't a good game for Amon Ra. I think Lad McConkey is going to continue to be pretty solid. He had 5 catches in what was his first NFL game. Looking at the bench, he's got Tony Pollard down there who performed. Romeo Dobbs is a decent option. And so just looking at Craw's team, I think there's a lot to like. I do somewhat trust Derrick Henry. He's still Derrick Henry. He's still in an elite offense. You saw them kind of commit to him early on, and then they were losing to the Chiefs, so they weren't giving him the ball as much. But I like Craw's roster when I look at it. I think he's got a lot of solid talent that didn't even perform last week. I don't think we've seen him at his peak yet, and I am sticking with this one. I like Craw's team this year.
Yep. And you were speaking on kind of the I know Houston's going to react. He wins, scores the most points, goes down
Yeah,
2 spots. But I mean, 37 points from defense and kicker.
yeah,
You can't count on that. David Njoku hurt. Joe Burrow, who knows when he'll heat up. So
yeah.
you have to react accordingly. It's not always about wins and losses. It's about players.
Yeah, that is the reason I did that. He won. He's in my playoffs right now, and I'd love him to be good because the league is better when Anakin Highwalker is good.
Yeah.
But the defense and kicker thing just seemed like a bit of a fluke. This whole Nixon Houston matchup was weird. I'm gonna need to see a little more, and I'm definitely open to moving them up.
Yeah. Not overreacting at all to week 1. We would
Thank
never
you,
do that.
thank you, thank you. Yeah.
Tucker's gambling hour, a little recap.
Oh man.
So we'll start off with you. I don't remember your parlay, but I remember you had the Jaguars winning. So I know it didn't hit.
Yeah.
Do you know ball?
I also will. I'll say I had the Bengals not only winning but covering the 8 point spread. That was an awful prediction.
I also had that as
So
well. I had that as well.
I don't gamble, and this is why. This is another thing, like the word of the day, that I don't see until Sager shows it to me just now. So I'm excited to see what you and Tucker cooked up. Clearly more knowledgeable than myself.
Yeah, so we'll start with Tucker. I bet all 4 of his things individually and the parlay. So 3 of them hit, but so he won $5.07, but we spent $5 gambling. So he's up 7 cents on the year. That's a profit.
And
Profit.
that's
Week
getting
one.
reinvested too. That's what y'all don't understand. That's getting
Yep.
put in to make more money.
And then I kind of went crazy with the touchdowns this week. So I actually profited $6.33, even missing my parlay. So I know I didn't say all
Hmm.
of those on camera, but I have the receipts. So maybe
No, I
I'll
believe you.
say more
And
next time.
I'm curious with the rookie parlay, you put $1 on it. I remember you had Caleb Williams, who really should have lost. Was there any others that made that lose? I'm just curious if
I
you.
did I bet the Bengals.
Oh, okay. And you said, yeah, they're cowards. The Patriots aren't even starting their quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Never
but
mind then. If
worked out.
Caleb Williams was the only reason you lost, that was going to be tough because the Bears should have lost that game.
Yeah, they definitely should have.
Yeah.
His picks. Maybe find out. Maybe there'll be another episode this week. Maybe this will be a 2 episode week because
Could
I
be. I
forgot
mean,
to ask.
I don't know when it's going to air. We're doing it on Tuesday night,
Night
which is
probably.
better than we usually are.
What? So
So
much
could
better.
be.
I'm on top of it.
Yeah.
I'm on top of
Hmm.
it.
Yeah.
So
And I salute you for that.
yeah, no trades. You know, I don't usually expect one until week 3, but who knows?
Right.
Maybe things will be different this year. And our picks from last week, you went 5-1, I went 4-2. So
Look at that.
I mean, we know ball. We know ball when it comes to our league.
I'd say. I'd say.
Um,
Good thing I picked my opponent there.
yeah, always tough. Always a tough
Yep. But
situation.
I knew in my heart of hearts. I
Yeah.
knew.
So we're locked up. It's gonna be a battle all year. Should we have a bet?
Yeah.
What should the loser
Ooh, the loser. I like this because I feel confident. I'm starting up one. I'm more than willing to make a bet with you. I admire you for starting a bet down a game.
yeah. Maybe we'll
Um,
let the comments decide.
yeah, I think that should be a next episode kind of thing. Get some
Yeah.
feedback. Nothing's jumping to mind right now, but you know the comment section on these videos
Yeah.
always going crazy. So I expect to see some stuff down
Also,
there.
if I lose the league, I will do a punishment. I'm willing to I'm willing to step up and start it to start a tradition. I'm willing to do that. I don't plan on coming in last though.
Right. Nor do I.
Yeah.
But sometimes our plans are not God's plans. So we'll see.
All right. And that's the episode. Next week we're gonna have a little jingle made up for the intro.
Questionable. Well,
Ellie texted
you
you.
think
That was not me.
you think old Boker? What'd you say?
Ellie texted you that, not me. The little
Are
jingle.
you serious?
Yeah.
I knew you didn't want to make a jingle. This man texted me before the episode, said, "Hey, we need a jingle ready in 10 minutes." I was like, "There's no way." I told him I wouldn't do it. I told him I
Uh,
wouldn't do it.
maybe ChatGPT can make one of those too. I'll look into it.
Maybe. I don't know about a tune. Hey,
Yeah.
that's fair play from Ellie, though. That's fair play. That's class right there.
You gotcha.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
She got me.
Episode 2 in the books. Maybe we'll be back later this week.
Maybe we will.
Yeah.
I
All right.
reckon that's all there is to it.
Have a good one.